Hi, I'm Orly Wahba, and I'm here today to speak about the mitzvah of Netillat Yadayim. Now, for many of us, you might be saying, wait a second, I know about the mitzvah of Netillat Yadayim, I do it Netillah every single day. Now, that might be true. However, engaging in doing a mitzvah and incorporating the proper kavanot, the proper intentions to that mitzvah, is really where all the difference is made. Because you can do something, but the minute that you put the intention to what you're doing and why you're doing it, you change everything. So think about this for a second. Why do we do the mitzvah Netillat Yadayim? It's not to remove physical dirt, okay? Soap and water can do the job. It's to remove a spiritual impurity. Now think about your hands for a minute. What do you use your hands for? All of your asiyah in this world comes through your hands. Whether it's taking care of your kids, or whether it's preparing your food, whether it's your parnasah, all asiyah comes through your hands. So when your hands are purified and sanctified, you're actually infusing that same purity and sanctification into every single thing you touch. So what am I talking about even further? The concept of doing Netillah is a hidur mitzvah with the material of nechoshet, of copper. Now that doesn't mean that if you do Netillah without copper, you're not doing Netillah. It does not mean that. We're talking about a hidur mitzvah. So let's look at the sources. Let's look at the Torah. We see in the Torah when Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to make the kiyor in the Mishkan, what material does he choose? He doesn't choose gold. He doesn't choose silver. Hashem specifically tells him to make it from nechoshet, to make it from copper. And then the same thing was done, of course, in the Bet HaMikdash. The same thing with Yam Shlomo, where the Kohanim would immerse into, before doing Avodat HaKodesh, the most important work that you can do, they immersed into a bath, basically, that the basin was made of also nechoshet, of copper. So why every time we're talking about the concept of Kedusha and water, Hashem brings in this idea, there's this concept of the nechoshet coming into play. Well, the element of copper, number one, is a natural antibacterial. It actually helps prevent the spread of germs. We know this in hospitals. They used to make doorknobs out of copper actually to prevent the spread of germs. More than that, it's much more than that. Copper, the element of copper, neutralizes the water. It actually creates a protective field. That's why a lot of people also, in today's world, we're seeing that people drink water from copper utensils because copper actually purifies the water. Now, we're talking about raw copper. This Netillah cup here, okay? So it is 100% pure copper cup. It has a lacquer on the front, but the inside is raw. Why? Because for this to happen, the water needs to touch the copper. See, when we do Netillah, like we said, we're removing the spiritual impurity. And we know that tum'ah can cling to anything that's alive. Water is mayim chayim. So when you put water into a cup, it's not that you're not doing Netillat Yadayim, so don't get me wrong. However, the tum'ah is able to cling to anything alive. But when water goes into copper, the copper neutralizes the water. Sort of like, think about creating a force field. So that when you're pouring the water into your hands, you're actually drawing down the full gamut of beracha that you can. We also know that in the Zohar it says, in Kabbalah it says that nechoshet, copper, is connected to, is representation of rachamim, of mercy. Now, we know that sometimes we use our hands for the wrong things. So we make mistakes. We do Netillat Yadayim, we pour the water on our hands, the beracha on our hands, and utilizing the choshet, bringing in this concept of rachamim, that Hashem should have mercy on the things that we do sometimes that are not right. But one of the other things that we speak about, that I want to speak about today, is the way in which to do Netillat Yadayim. Of course, many people, and I do Netillah, okay, I did water on my hands, I'm good, I said it, okay, I left. Again, it's about bringing in the kavanot. Hashem gave us this we have this incredible mitzvah in order to draw the full gamut of beracha into our life, to bring the asiyah, the power into our hands, so that we can go out into the world utilizing our hands and impact positive things. So when we do Netillat Yadayim, and I'm going to focus right now just on the Netillat Yadayim that we do in the morning. Now, there are some differences between Sephardim and Ashkenazim, where Sephardim generally will end up doing 3 on each side. Some Ashkenazim will do 2. Moroccans also have another tradition. I'm going to specifically right now speak about still the concept of how to utilize the cup when it's in your hand. Number one, we fill up the cup all the way to the top with water. I know it's going to take a couple extra seconds. Fill it up to the top. You're talking about bracha. You want bracha? We're running out to go do everything. But who brings the things into our life? Where are you going? Hashem. So where are you running to? take it half a second, fill up the cup. We fill it up with our right hand. All of our mitzvot begin with our right hand. Right? Chesed over Gevurah. Now we fill up the cup with the water on our right. We pass it over to our left. We then pour the water on our right. Don't be scared of the water. It's not going to bite you. Pour it onto your hand. Fill your hand. Now, the thing I always tell people is, you pass from right to left. When you're ready to pass from left to right, it's best not to do that. Again, these are some Kabbalistic concepts. Better to put the cup down and pick it up with your right. So when you pass from right to left, not from left to right. So now you fill up the cup, you pass it to your left, you pour it on the right first. Put it down, again, on your left. And you're going back and forth 3 times, okay? Alternating 3 times. After you actually wash your hands and put it over here, this cup fills 1 liter of water. You take the excess water off your hands and you lift your hands up with your right hand going just slightly above the left. You're lifting them up. Now, what is this reminiscent of to us? Think about the time when Moshe Rabbeinu was fighting against Amalek, right? What happened when Bnei Israel was fighting against Amalek? What did he do? When his hands were raised, Bnei Israel was winning. When his hands went down, they were losing. What was the deep concept? It had nothing to do with his hands. It has to do with the fact that when people are going to look at him, they're going to look up, they're going to remember Hashem. They're going to remember it's coming from Hashem, the concept of emunah. When we lift our hands up, you know when a person says, I give up? I give up. What do they do? They look up. Why? You know that to take Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim, it says that right before Hashem took them out of Mitzrayim, Bnei Israel said, it says that they could no longer handle the sevel. They could no longer handle the burden. They gave up. The idea when a person says, I give up, meaning I realize I cannot bring upon myself salvation. Only Hashem can. We stop thinking that we can carry the burden. And we start realizing that it's up to Hashem. So when Moshe Rabbeinu's hands were up, this is reminiscent of the same idea when we do Netillah Yadayim, to lift our hands, to recognize that what? Everything comes from Hashem. Sometimes we're rushing, sometimes we're worried. God's the worst. Everything comes from Hashem. We lift our hands up and we say the beracha. We say it clearly and we say it with intention. And after we say the beracha, that's when we dry our hands. Some people, as they're running out, I'm going to dry my hands, I'm leaving, I'll see you later. No. Take the extra 10 seconds it's going to be, remembering that all the berachot in this world, all of the things are going to come from Hashem, and all the asiyah comes through your hands. The moment that they're purified and sanctified, like we say, you're going to infuse that same purity and sanctification to every single thing that you touch. The last thing I want to share with you about copper. It says in the Gemara that Hashem compares Am Yisrael to Nechoshet. Why? So this is raw copper inside. The whole thing is copper. The inside will become black. What's the idea? And it's very nice. It says it's very easy. Why does Hashem compare Bnei Israel to copper? Because oftentimes we mitameh our nishamot, we dirty our nishamot with chataim, with things that are not so good. But we're very easy to clean. What you do is you take a piece of lemon, you cut it in half, anything you have copper, that's how you do it, you dip it in salt and you rub it inside, it takes it off right away. So Am Yisrael also, we're easy to clean, just like the concept of copper. And our purpose is not only to help people understand the power of this mitzvah, to bring more intention into this mitzvah, but to also make a hidur mitzvah by utilizing nechoshet. So I just want to thank you for hearing me out today about this importance of the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should give you tremendous berachah to your hands and to everything that you touch.
Thank you.
Just hits different.
Yes.